Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the Rhone valleys. We are going to continue our journey throughout France. Now, so far we've gone through Bordeaux, we've gone through Burgundy, Champagne, and now we get to start going to the south. Now this is going to start changing a little bit the dynamics and the style of the wines that we have been seeing so far. Now, the Rhone Valley is located in the southwest of France. It's actually quite a big region. It extends for quite a few kilometers. Its name is basically from the Rhone River, which is the one that's going to cross all of the Rhone Valley. Now, the Rhone Valley is divided into two different areas, what is called the Northern Rhone and then the Southern Rhone. Now, why is this important? Because the style of the wines, everything is going to change dramatically from one to the other. For example, in the northern Rhone, we see more focus on Syrah, especially for the red wines, and for Viognier on the white wines. What makes it so exciting, or what is so good about the Rhone Valley, is that it's a different style of wines. If you think about Bordeaux, you think of all those chateaus, beautiful wines, the Chateau Latour, Chateau Lafite, Margaux, all those classic wines. When you think of Burgundy, you think of the beautiful Pinot Noir, the beautiful Chardonnays, Chassagne Montrachet, La Tâche, Romanée Conti. But the Rhone Valley is different. It's a different soils, different texture. They use so many grapes. Just to give you a quick example, we have a wine that is called Chateau du Pape that uses over 19 grapes in the blend. So that makes it so rich, so colorful, and it's a mixture of different things. Nowadays, there is a term for the grapes that have been used in this particular area that is called the Rhone Rangers. This started back in the 90s, especially in California, in the United States, where they started bringing what is called Syrah, Grenache, Mourvèdre, and they started blending it and play around with it, and they're making beautiful, beautiful wines. Now, as we were talking about, the wine from the Rhone, historically, started to come in vogue or starting to develop with the arrival of the Pope to the city of Avignon. Avignon is just right there in the Rhone Valley, and basically they started producing and trading a lot more wines than they used to. They started trading wines, and that's where the boom started to appear. Now, as I was talking about, to the difference with Bordeaux or, for example, with Burgundy, we don't have a classification system that we can have a Premier Cru, a Grand Cru, or something like that, which makes it a little bit complicated to understand the wines. Now I'm going to start talking a little bit about what is happening in the north. Now the northern Rhone itself is going to focus, as I've said before, in Syrah or Shiraz, as you want to say it, and Viognier. Now, there's a few very famous appellations we're going to find in Northern Rhone. We have what is called Côte Rôtie, which I actually have a beautiful wine here. Côte Rôtie, this is from Gigal. Okay, Côte Rôtie, which is going to be focused as well. It's 100% Syrah, although they can use a little bit of Viognier as well, up to 20%. Now, the name of this wine is called Brun et Blanc. Okay, brown and blonde, basically. And this refers to the two types of slopes that they have in the region. They have what is called the brown slope because of the type of soil, and the blonde slopes that we're going to have, the type of soil that we have in that particular region. Now, in the Côte Rôtie, we have the slopes that are very, very vertical, and most of them they're facing south. Now, why does this matters, or why is this important? Is because the southern exposure is going to allow them to be able to increase the maturity of the wines. Why? Because they're going to have more sun. Okay, this is really, really important to understand. There's a factor very important that happens in the northern Rhone that doesn't happen in the south, and it doesn't happen in a lot of regions. We have what is called mistral winds. These mistral come from the Massif Central, or from the plateau, and it's cold winds that come all over the region, so this can affect the grape very, very hardly. So that changes a lot the temperature, and it's going to be in the winter it's going to be a very cold weather, and in the summer it's actually going to be a hot summer. So this kind of like balances out and kind of adds characteristics to the wines that we already have. So I was saying we have Côte Rôtie, which is one of the most famous wines. They're not cheap wines for sure. It's actually quite expensive, but they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wines. Now, the thing here to understand is, for example, we have become very used to Shiraz or Syrahs from the New World. What are we going to find in the New World? Well, you have your spiciness, your black pepper, white pepper, dark fruits that comes very, very powerful, full body, high alcohol, The Syrah that we're gonna use, or the Syrah, type of Syrah that we're gonna find in the northern Rhone or in the Rhone Valley itself, is a different kind of style. First of all, in the northern Rhone, this is very important to determine. We're gonna find very distinctive the aroma, or the aroma of green olives. Okay, now this green olive is gonna be present a lot of the times in the different wines we're gonna have. The wine itself is gonna be more earthy. Yes, they're gonna have a lot of fruit. It's gonna have a lot of power, but it's also gonna have some earthiness to it. So we're gonna have the prawns that is very typical, maybe even some chocolate that we're gonna have, but the earthiness is gonna be present. It's gonna have more texture. Okay, so it's a different, it's not this when we get to the debate. We cannot say that all the Shiraz are the same or all the Shiraz are the same. It depends where they come from, the style of the wine, and how they're made. So as I was talking about, this is a beautiful wine, Cote Rôtie, again from Gigal. Gigal is a merchant, and this is 13.5% of alcohol. Okay, so it's not as the fruit bomb that we may have in Australia or in the United States, but still it's a very, very good wine. Now, in the northern we have another one called Condro. Now Condro is going to be mainly, or it's going to be focused only on white wines, and the white ones we're going to find is going to be Viognier. Yeah, Viognier produces also beautiful, beautiful wines. We're going to find them as well in the region of Sancerre, in the Loire Valley. But the wines that we're going to find mainly here, they're going to be full body wines. Okay, we're going to see a more structured, more full body wines that we're going to find. They're going to be mature, and some of them are going to be mature enough. So we're going to find similarities to what we will have in a Chardonnay, to give you an example. So it's not going to be the crispy, easy going kind of wine, but it's going to be more full body, a lot of aromas, peaches that we're going to find there. Very, very interesting wines. Now this Condro is not very famous or not very typical, so a lot of times getting to know them or understanding them might be a little bit difficult, but I totally encourage you to try these wines. We are going to have our Hermitage, Cross Hermitage, as long as other famous regions. Now, the northern one is a strip, very strip. And then we get to the bulk, which is the southern one, okay? Now, the southern one is going to be composed of so many different wines, okay? We're going to have many appellations. Now, the first one I want to talk about is the famous one, Côte du Rhône, okay? As you can see here, Côte du Rhône. So this is probably the most famous wine that we have in the whole of the Rhone Valley. Now, what is interesting to know about this Côte du Rhône is, first of all, that although it can change, most of the Côte du Rhônes are made with Grenache, okay, Grenache Noir. Now, it's going to have a blend of various different grapes, especially as you know, the appellations in the south are going to include more, but it's going to focus more on Grenache Noir, and it's going to be basically the grapes are going to be sorted out mainly from the southern Rhone. Okay, we're not gonna find too many grapes coming from the north, but it's gonna be mostly from the south. Okay, now these wines are gonna be more fruit forward, more easy going, easy to drink. They can be a very good example. This, for example, it's a 2011, and it produces very interesting things as well. Okay, so this is a Côte du Rhône. Now, the most famous ones that we're gonna see, it's without a doubt the famous Châteauneuf du Pape. Okay. Now, what is so special of Châteauneuf du Pape? The translation of Châteauneuf du Pape is New Castle of the Pope. So, when the Pope came back or established himself in Avignon, he was requested for wines. He was coming from Italy. He was used to a certain style of wines. So they started making these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wines for the Pope, in which, as I was talking about, it's a blend of even 19 different grapes. Okay, they blend between 10 red, 9 white grape varieties. Now, the main grape varieties we're going to find here, it's going to be, of course, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, Cinsault. You're going to have your Viognier, Roussanne, Marsanne, among so many other different grapes in different quantities, of course. Now, this is going to be a full body wine. Okay, beautiful. It's going to have a lot of different textures, a lot of different aromas, a lot of different varieties. You're going to have your fruit, you're going to have your dark berries, your chocolate, your olive. It's going to be a whole different textures. These wines are, of course, recommended to age for a few years, maybe 5-10 years. They can go mature perfectly, and it's probably one of the best wines that we're going to find, or the most interesting wines that we're going to find, definitely in the Rhone. Now, and this is when I get it excited. What I like, I personally love this wine. I think it's amazing, and one of the things I like is the complexity that it has, and the difference, how they blend everything together, how it all plays together, how you let it air a little bit and it changes, and it's quite fun to see it mature. Now, something that I'm gonna recommend you to do, it's try an experiment. I want you to decant this wine, half of it in a decanter, and the other half you're gonna do it in a blender. Okay? Yes, and a regular blender. I know how it sounds. Just put it in a blender, and for 30 seconds, just go through it. You're gonna see a lot of froth, but let it sit a little bit, and then put it through and compare them. It's gonna be mind-blowing what you're gonna see. Okay? So this is Chateau Neuf. Another one really famous and really nice. I love this one as well. It's called Giondas. Okay, Giondas is an appellation as well. It's right in the middle of the southern one, and Giondas, so that we have to understand, Giondas is mainly going to be produced from Grenache. Okay, Grenache Noir. Although it can be blended a little bit with Marsanne, Rosanne, but mainly it's going to be Grenache. So as you can see, we have an example that is going to be 100% Syrah, and an example that is going to be not 100%, but basically Grenache. Okay. The interesting thing here to understand, or what we have to learn, is that there's no names on the labels. There's nothing that indicates exactly how they're made, what they're made. So that's why we have to know what we're drinking. Okay. This is also beautiful wine, high in alcohol as well. There's a lot of textures on it, a lot of fruit that we're going to find, especially typical of Grenache. Your dark fruits, you have your peppers, everything's going to be right there. This is 14.5, so it's going to be also high in alcohol. So as well, you're going to have a lot of different aromas, a lot of different textures to play around with. Okay? Well, thank you very much.